Well, I figured I'd go get some coffee while they are at the doctor's appointment. And it's kind of funny how all the doctor's offices that I have to take people to in the family is walking distance to a coffee shop. Not planned, but I'm not arguing about it. I mean, it's ironic that all the doctor places and all the coffee shops there is, and it just happened that the doctor appointments end up walking distance, a block or two. If they, it's not even a block. I mean, it's like I'm in the parking lot of the doctor, and you look right through them trees right there, and you see the coffee shop. It's crazy how it's that close. Everyone just got to get across here. To get to it, I'm not going to argue about it a bit that there's a coffee shop this close. Don't have to sit in the car. Just walk and go get some coffee. But yeah, after I get my coffee, I want to talk about something that I thought about of how this world really is about pretty much set rules of what you're supposed to do and what you don't supposed to do and how you're supposed to live your life. So I'm going to talk about that. But right now, we go get some coffee and I'll chat with you in a minute. Thank you. All right, got my drink. Looking for. All right, we got our beverage. Was going to sit there outside there, but they got music blaring, so not going to do that. I know I can take AI and actually take it out, but that's just extra work. So I can sit right here. I mean, it is a little warm today, but not really hot. So not too hot to sit out here in a nice sunny day. It's got a nice cool breeze. It feels like in the maybe lower 70s, the way it feels. I can deal with that. Got a good mix. What I want to talk about is the world pretty much has a blueprint of what they expect everybody to follow, basically from day one. But I want to talk about the workforce. Once you go to school and high school and after that, pretty much they got it laid out. You do A, B, C, D, E, and so on. And God forbid if you go A and C and go to L and get everything not to according to their plan. it's it gets you locked in and not hard to get out of, but it makes you feel like guilty of not following their plan. They expect you to work like 9 to 5. That's a common thing. It's just you work 9 to 5. I mean, even songs have been written about it, like Dolly Parton working 9 to 5. They expect you to work 9 to 5. Some companies, will say 8 till 4, whatever, but still, it's 9 to 5, the 8-hour days. Then you got that 30 minutes, 1 hour, some even an hour and a half to drive to and back to the house. So anywhere from, say, 30 minutes to an hour and a half total just driving just to get there and get back home. You only got 24 hours in a day. So if you work 8 hours and it's an hour, hour and a half to drive there and back, traffic and all, and that's, also you can count in getting ready in the morning. So it's going to take you, up to an hour and a half just to get ready or coming back. But if you got 24 hours, 8 hours of work, that knocks you down to 16 for the day that you have. Then in, say, an hour and a half, that knocks you down to 14 and a half hours. Then when you get home, you got to, you got to shower, you got to cook. So cooking, depends on what you're cooking, that's another hour. Take a shower, that's another hour. So you're down to like 13 and a half, 12 and a half. You got to get your good 7-8 hours of good sleep. So that leaves you roughly 5.5 hours left out of the day. You got to take 30 minutes to an hour for lunch. So that leaves you down to 4.5 hours. You got to have, if you have a partner, so if you're married and all, you got to have alone time. Not necessarily every day, but it'd be nice to be able to sit back and watch a movie or something. So that can be an hour, hour and a half. So that can get you down to 3.5 to 1.5 hours in a day that you have nothing to do. But yet, you still, some days, you're not even going to have that because you got to do the yard work, little maintenance on the house, clean your car. Even if you don't clean it yourself, go to a car wash, whatever, and do it there. Either way, it's taking your time. So that's down to like an hour and a half for the day that you have nothing to do, that you can spend time with your kids and stuff, or just relax. If you do that 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year, Now, I know some people are going to say, well, I get a week off or 2 weeks off. I'm getting to that. But 6 days a week, 6 days a week and 52 weeks a year, it's 312 days to work. 312 days with only an hour and a half of free time. That's only 468 hours a year that you have nothing to do. So if you take 468 and divide it by, that's how many hours? 468 hours a year. You divide that by 24, will give you how many days you have free through the year of doing the grind that they have set out for you to do, that they say you have to do. That's the norm. You know, you go to school, you go to college, get a degree, to go get a job, and you get a house, you can get married, you have kids and work until you're 60 or 70 years old. That's the norm. You work 30, 40 years, if not more. But if you take 468 days and divide it by 24, that only gives you 19 and a half days to be free. And say if you get a week off, that's what, 26? You get 2 weeks, you can do the math. Not many days. 19.5 days. Working the normal routine that they say you should do, that is normal. That's the way of life. Yeah, you may work 5 years and get a week, or work, well, Mr. Jones, you worked here for 10 years. Now we're going to give you 2 weeks of vacation. Whoopee. Now you get 3 weeks in 1 year. But an average person, to relax and go on vacation, it takes them 3 to 5 days just to wind down, to start really relaxing. So technically you only get 2 weeks out of them 3 weeks to really relax. And technically not even that, because closer it comes to that last day, you start thinking about work. It's almost like Monday is just around the corner. So you start thinking what I need to do when I get back to work. Where did I leave off? So if you do all the math and the normal human thinking and the stress level and everything, the way society has laid out the blueprint, out of them 3 weeks, you get maybe 1 week in the middle, because the first part of the first week, you winding down so you can relax. Then you relax for a week, and then when the last week gets there, the stress levels start to go up, because you know you got to go back to work. 2 weeks is already gone, flown by, and you know it's going to fly by even faster because you only got 1 week left. They keep you in that loop to keep you on their track of keep you working, never able to get ahead. Get a raise. Oh, you've been here for 3 years. We'll give you a $2 raise. Again, I say whoopee, $2. $80 a week, 160 every 2 weeks. What is that, 320? A month? That's before taxes. That is why when I graduated in 1984, that seems like it was just yesterday, but the math says that's many, many years ago. Time will not stand still for anyone. That's why when I got out of high school, I was in that mindset to follow that blueprint. So I went out and got a job, a starting job, quite a few of them. I worked at Bojangles, biscuit maker, worked at Domino's as a pizza maker, pizza delivery. I even freaking sold what was, I'm trying to think of the name. It's a brand of vacuum cleaners, Electrolux, I think it was. And back then in the 80s, I think it was when I did that. And they were like $1,300 for a vacuum system. Like imagine what they are now. I tried that. I tried electrical installer. I tried plumbing. I tried a HVAC installer. I even done temporary jobs. Temporary jobs like seasonal jobs. Worked at, I think it was at Sears in Roebuck. Worked in the department in the back where you can bring your Christmas gift and I would wrap it for you, free of charge. And before the Christmas season, I worked as a display person that would set one up. Like if they're going to have some kind of a sport display for a certain brand or tools like DeWalt or anything like that, any brand that they were selling, they want to put up a display particularly for that particular brand. They would get me to actually assemble it in the store. They knew that I had the knowledge and the know-how of, like, if it had lights, how to wire it up, how to program things on it to make the lights flash, all that kind of stuff. I just had that edge on above other people that they knew how to assemble it, put the screws and nuts and all together, but all the other stuff, the pizzazz stuff to really make it pop and stand out as you approach it, they didn't know how to do that. I even done little things like paper routes, not the newspaper, but a thing called the ad pack. Got on my bicycle, got me a little bag, put it around my shoulder and all, reached in there and just throw them out as a ride down the road, cover a certain area. Any and every little kind of job, I was trying to find that one job, that atmosphere that made me more energetic to get up and actually get out there and go do whatever the task of the job was. I found it only took me like 4 years after I graduated. I mean, I was doing things like during the summer cutting grass. I had my bicycle with a banana seat. If some people watching may know what that is, not look it up. A banana seat. And I attached the handle of the lawnmower to the back of it and pulled it as like a little trailer. I used to push it, but them walks started getting further and further because more people want to get their grass cut. Over them 4 years, I come to realize one thing. I wanted to be outside. Some of them jobs got me outside, doing electrical, doing the plumbing, driving for Domino's. But it wasn't outside the way that I felt that I really wanted. Another thing I found is I wanted to have a different day at work every day. I didn't want to feel like I'm on a little hamster on a wheel. It's just around and around and around and around, same thing over and over and over. It's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and getting the same results. And that's what I saw that them particular jobs were going to be. Going nowhere. Yeah, work 5 years, 10 years. Yeah, I get a raise. No. Because by the time you get the raise, and the cost of living has gone up higher than your raise over them 5 or 10 years. So you really got nowhere. Your check just looks bigger, but so does all your bills because they got bigger too. So I sat down and my father on his back porch and just sat there and talked to him. And he mentioned, says, have you found out exactly what kind of job you want? He said, you've been working, but you keep changing jobs. But I mean, it's not like I get a job and then I don't like it, then I leave it, and 2 or 3 weeks later I find another job. No, I walk out of one place and the very next day or two, I walk into a place of another. It's almost like I work Monday through Friday and then I take Saturday and Sunday off, and then Monday I'm at another job starting. There was really no time in between. Some I was overlapping working 2 jobs. I told him, I said, well, I found that I want to be outside and not the same place all the time. Maybe doing the same thing, but in different places, meeting different kind of people, something that is in demand, especially in this kind of environment here where I'm at now in Wilmington, North Carolina, my hometown. And my father said, well, I know you don't like plumbing because you do the plumbing, you're pretty much out of house and plumbing. Do electrical, you're pretty much out of house for most of the time a month to pull the wires and all. And installing HVAC is pretty much the same thing. You're going to be there for a while. And you're not meeting new people. I was like, no. I'm doing the same thing, but at the same place. And I worked for a few heating and air companies as well, doing installs of the ductwork installation there. And one company I started working with, and they got me into service. I was going different places, doing the same thing, repairing units, not installing. Just go to somebody's house, figure out what it is, and fix it. Get that fixed, write them an invoice, take payment, call in. Where I go next? Going to a different place, meeting new people, but still doing the exact same thing, repairing AC. And I started to like that because I was doing the same thing, but I was meeting new people and I was getting to go all over the place. And there was I never knew where I'm going to be the very next day. Unless it's something that I had to get apart and it comes in the next day, I go back there. But still, I'm going to go to a different place after that it's been repaired. So 95% of the time, every day, I was in a new location doing the exact same thing, meeting new people. And I started to really fall to that form. It gives me something to look forward to every day I get up. Never know where I was going to be. That's when I decided the only thing left, I found the kind of work I want to do because it was in high demand, especially in the summer around here, the humidity. I found a way that I can do something, meet new people, get to go all around. I mean, I can drive an hour and a half sometimes to get to the next place. The only thing else that I was trying to figure out is how to make more money and not have to work certain hours, clock in, the 9 to 5 grind that the society, the world has put upon us that they expect us to follow. I didn't like it. Work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then you getting ready to clock out on Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock, and there's a sign that says mandatory, everybody show up on Saturday, which is the next day. Don't matter if you had plans already with your family or friends. No. The society says you have to go to work because your boss says so. That's the normal. I didn't like that. I had to figure out a way to get out of that. And in them 4 years, after I found out what I wanted to do and I was good at, I figured out a way to get away from the normal. That was to open up my own heating and air repair service. Not do installs or anything like that, just repairs. Go to this place, this house, find out what it is, get the parts if I don't already have it. Normally it's a motor or a capacitor or a contactor, or somebody hit the wire with a weed eater. And fix it and go on to the next one. And if I want a day off, I take that day off. And after I got the business established, I was right where I wanted to be. I can crank up the volume and get more customers and work myself 6 days a week, because I had the intentions of more I work now, more I can save. How much does it take for me to live? How can I cut my cost of living so I have to work even less? And I figured that out. I brought used cars. I mean, the first car I ever bought was $500. And it was I forgot what year, but it was a Yugo. Some people say, what the heck is that? Never heard of it. Look it up. It's a Yugo. It's a little car. $500. I brought it at Carolina Beach that was parked in front of a gas station. Nice white Yugo. They said it had a little engine leak. And I opened up the hood, saw that would be simple as taking the top and replacing the gasket and should be fine. And after I had it for a year, adding oil to it every 1,000 miles, and then every 3,000, change the oil, I decided to invest and get that change. And I did, and it stopped the leak. And I didn't have to do anything about the oil until every 3,000 miles. I drove the heck out of that thing. Then I got a better car and kept on. The first car I ever had was given to me by my grandmother. And that was a 1965 Rambler Classic with a 282 straight 6, I think. 6-cylinder. I do believe it was. I wish I still had it. And the reason why I want it is because it was my grandmother's. But I got other things from my grandmother, so I'm good. But I enjoy when I see them cars in car shows. Brings back memories. But after I established the heat and air company doing service, man, I was more than happy to get up every morning. I mean, I was telling people, say, well, it's real hot up in your attic. It's reading like 108, 110 up there right now. Can I come back in the morning, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning after it's cooled off? And the attic fans have, pulled the heat out just to be able to replace your motor. And most of the time they would say yes. Because most of them had 2 stories and they had a system downstairs that they can sleep down there, no problem. But I was enjoying it. So I cranked up the volume and I was working, this was way before I even got married. And even longer before I had any kids. I was determined to work to the point where shortly after I get married and have kids, I was able to retire. I was shooting for 50 years old. But things took a turn when I got falsely accused of something that I would never even think about doing. But I had to go through the legal system, let it take its path, its toll, and so I can come out on the other side better than I was when I went in. Take a negative and turn it into a positive. I didn't know how I was going to do that. But after I sat there for 500 some days, I figured, well, it's been a year and they haven't budged any further of proving that I was guilty. In fact, it was looking the very opposite. It was falling apart. That's when I knew that I will prevail and prove that I'm innocent of being falsely accused. Prove to them that what somebody has said is not true in no shape or form about me. And it took another year, almost another year. It was 512, 513 days. But I missed birthdays. I missed Thanksgiving and Christmases with my family. But I didn't let that get me down. I focused on what am I going to do to escalate and make my life better when I am released from this place, because their case holds no water. And when that day my attorney walked over to the place where I was, and they let me out of that room and go see her, and I noticed right off the bat that she did not have her briefcase in her hand at all. Nothing. Not even laying on the table. She was just standing there. And I knew that she had some good news. Didn't know what it was. But we went in that little room, sat down. She says, how would you feel if I get the paperwork filled out so you can go back home to your family in the next 2 days? I said, where do I need to sign? We got the paperwork done. And of course, it's been 2 days that I was going to be released and walked through the doors. And of course, somebody screwed up on the paperwork and it took 4 days. That's okay. Sitting somewhere for 500 days, 2 more days is no big issue. But it's just how ironic how something that's supposed to be to the T for the innocent can get screwed up so easily just because somebody's error. Whether that was on purpose or not, I don't know. But I sat there after that first year when I saw their case falling apart. How can I prevail? How can I take this negative that I and my family has gone through to turn around to a big positive for all of us? Somebody in there, his name was Johnny, that was in there as well. He was released before I was. And he said, you like writing. He said, when you write your wife, you write, 10, 15 pages each time. I mean, I was writing so many pages that when it was mailed out, some of them came back and said I had to add a stamp because it weighed too much for first class mail. And the guards got a real big laugh out of it. I'm like, well, I just like writing. I can really take my thoughts and put it on paper in detailed. And Johnny says, well, since you like writing so much, he said, won't you get out of here and just write a book about all what you've done? He says, you wrote a letter every day. So you have them letters for documentations of what went on because you told your wife everything that was going on, like somebody in a certain cell, like 132 cell, messed with the sprinkler, the fire system, and made all the alarms go off and flooded their room and stuff like that. And you went locked down. He said, you pretty much told it everything that you were here and everything what happened each day. And I said, you're right. I should be able to take all that documentation and transfer it into a book. And that's exactly what I did. And if you want to see and read that book, look into the description below this video and you can order it right there off of Amazon and many other major outlets. It's only like 150 pages. I hit the highlights of the time that I was there. I didn't tell about every little thing that went on. Like the hot dog bread sometimes was so hard, I could probably knock out the window with it. But I took that negative and turned it into a positive. And after I got back home with my wife and all and the kids, and after they stopped hugging me and everything else, for weeks and months, I sat down there and got that paperwork together and took the process of getting it turned into a book. Other people should hear about this ordeal that I had to go through, regardless how good you live your life, stay out of trouble and everything, things still can turn for the worst. But take the negatives in your life and turn them into a positive. And then the very first person that says, well, it's been 6 months, you've been back home. Have you thought about how you're going to get the business back up and running? I kind of sat down and thought about that. Like, I really hadn't thought about it. I've been enjoying myself being just back with my family. And I got the van with tools and all. Be sure they're organized in the van and everything. And for the rest of that year, for about maybe 4 months, and the year would be over, I did a little bit of heat and air service. I put ads out on Facebook and Craigslist and a few other like Twitter and stuff like that, just to put the fish hook in the water and just see if I get any bites. I was getting maybe 3, maybe 4, like one a week, but doing something. But I wasn't motivated like I was when I started originally. That start of that journey of running my own business. So I decided after Christmas, after sitting there and watching the kids enjoy Christmas, of opening up presents from Santa Claus and other people that gracefully sent to us because they knew that I was innocent and they just wanted to help in every way they could. After I saw that, I'm like, I want to see more of that as often as I could. And I knew by going back to work and the rise and grind, I would not have that. And I knew it took me at least somewhere between 5 and 10 years really to get the business going to make it worth of doing. And I was like 45, 46, so that would put me 55, 60 just to get the business really going back to where it was. And like, by the time I get it going, it's time to retire. And I looked at my finances of the accounts that I had and all before I even got falsely accused. And I'm like, okay, I got this and here. And I said, I can invest it in, that's when thinking about like investing in like Bitcoin and stuff like that, that I saw high potential of increasing over the next few years. And I did. And I made quite a bit finance increase when I did that. I mean, it's sitting nice and pretty now. And I finally cashed out on that thing. And the bank account looks really healthy. But when I started thinking, I really don't have the motivation to go back into it. So what can I do? So I started doing the numbers. I got the X, Y, Z in these accounts. I got these many years if I'm blessed to live until, 70, 80, maybe even 90. And that's not including the benefits I would get from investing. And I'm like, we just have to cut back pretty much where we at now, because a lot of stuff we lost business-wise, but we had enough sitting in the accounts that would cover our needs from there on until I'm 70, 80, or 90 years old. And I said, now I'm going to write a book. How successful is that? At the time, I didn't even know. I didn't even know exactly what steps I had to take to get that to even become materialized. But I decided to just call it quits. And I'm glad I did. So that's why I retired when I was 45. And it was one of the best decisions that I have ever made. Spend time with the wife, spend time with the kids. Now I got grandkids. And I can get up every morning now. Ever since then, every morning, whenever I want to. Go to bed when I want to. Go travel when I want to. And the WISP internet just fell in my lap. But that's not taking my time away from the family. It runs itself. And I dedicate and tell people in June, July, and August is when I pretty much not going to do any long traveling. And I'll be available if you have issues or you want to install. But the other months, I may be there if you want internet installed. You may have to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks for me to get back in town to get you internet. And if your internet goes down, I can reboot it. I can call you and try to take you through steps to see what I can get you to do to maybe get it back working. And if it don't, since I don't need the money, I'm not using the money, it just goes in the account and it recycles itself. I just give that person a month's free of internet. So pretty much they didn't pay for internet that they couldn't use. Now I would say 99% of the people understand that. Some like, I'm paying for this, I need blah, 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 blah. Well, you're not paying for it. Shut up and wait for me to get back. And I had maybe a handful. It's like, well, if it's not fixed by this weekend, you can just cancel my account. Fine. I can cancel it now. I don't need it. They think they have a strong arm. Well, if you don't fix this by this weekend, I don't care where you're at, you're not going to get my money. I don't need your money. I'm not going to use your money except put it towards somebody else getting the internet. So you don't have no leverage. You can say all you want. And they don't like that because they think that will get me motivated or do something to come fix their internet. Well, that just makes me want to get further away from them and just turn them off and just call it a day and go back doing what I was doing in whatever town, the trip that I've taken, that I'm on. You have to take control of your life. Don't live the normal life that everybody expects you to live, that has been a blueprint for I don't know how long. They expect you to be born, then go to school, go to high school, go to college, get a degree or two. Go get a big job. Go buy a fancy $100,000 car. $300,000 or $400,000 house that has 4 or 5 bedrooms and 2 or 3 bathrooms, and it's only you and your wife that you be paying for the next 30, 35 years. And God forbid you cannot have a car that's more than 3 years old, so you got to trade that in and get another one. Starts the process over and over. So you're in that groove and that metrics that they have laid out for you to live. What fun is it to be born and then somebody already laid out how your life is going to be? That's boring. I want to do things I want to do when I want to do them. Not when somebody says, hey, you got to work this Saturday. I don't care if it's your son's or daughter's birthday and you already had a party planned. You got to show up, or we'll let you go. Well, I was looking for a job when I got here. I guess I'll be looking for one when I leave here. I'm not going to let your tactics fear me into not being with my family, that we already planned a party or whatever, or an outing. Family comes first. And people that screw around and not keeping their finances in order when they're younger, when they get older, when they get 35, 40, 45, even 50, even worse, and they got all of this financial burden, the debt that they have, that the society has told them that they have to exist in this world, or the ones that neglected of paying their responsibility of their bills, and they all pile up. And now they got when they're supposed to work from 20 to 60, 40 years, now all the bills they got when they start at 50, it's going to take them till 85, 90 years old to do the exact same thing, and their body's not able to do it because they're older. So they're going to be working for the rest of their lives. And they might not even be here long enough to pay everything. Then it leaves it to their family to pick up the slack. I determined early in years of my life not to live the blueprint that the world has laid out for us all to live. So are you living the blueprint, or are you at the drafting table and drawing up your own blueprint to live by? It's something to think about. It's like, why get on a football team when they already got it played out and knowing who's going to be in the Super Bowl? What's the purpose of playing? Getting hurt, get injured, be in the hospital, lose income. What's the purpose of doing it? I mean, you have to be really enjoying getting beat up on the football field and knowing that you're not going to be in the Super Bowl because it's already planned that your team is not going to be there. What's the purpose? Don't live by their blueprint. Make your own. So get out there and live already. I'll see you in the next one.